El Camino Real, the Royal Highway, marched the soldiers of Gaspar de Portola, laying the groundwork for Father Oniporo Serra to establish his third mission, San Antonio de Padua. It was in this valley, September 1771, that the Franciscan Padres brought civilization to the Indians, which later developed into our great state of California. To preserve this civilization and guard our imperiled freedom, men today travel the highway to this valley, now a training ground for the 40th Infantry Division of California's National Guard. The history of this gallant division goes back before World War I to July 1917, when National Guard units of California, Arizona, Colorado, Utah, and New Mexico were grouped into the newly formed 40th for World War I service. Men who in their civilian life are leaders in their communities come to this annual encampment. They are lawyers, educators, farmers, factory workers, and students who train together and put to practice the lessons learned at their armory meetings. Many of their leaders are substantial citizen soldiers, as well as combat seasoned officers such as Major General Homer O. Eaton, commanding officer of the 40th Grizzly Division and principal of the Hamilton High School in civilian life. The responsibility of the commanding general and his staff in the National Guard is to organize and supervise the training program prescribed by the Department of the Army. To carry out the directives of the command, mimeograph forms are put to work by the administration personnel and sent to units in the field. The foundation of National Guard training, like that of training in the other branches of the military, is good basic soldiering. The program stems from the soldier's basic weapon, the rifle or carbine, and regardless of his military specialty, he must learn to fire this weapon accurately. Carefully selected trainer personnel help the new guardsmen to develop the technique of the skilled marksman. The initial training is performed under the watchful eyes of qualified instructors who carefully tabulate the progress made. It has been said that skill is stronger than strength. This transition range provides exercise for that ability. Firing is conducted from a series of covers on target at varied distances. This course is required for record firing for qualification. Once a guardsman has learned to handle himself and his weapon, he may join with other men of a squad and learn to work as a team. The mortar team is like the block of a football team. The riflemen attack supported by mortars as downfield blockers. The speed with which a heavy mortar crew get their weapon into action is often the difference between success and failure of a mission. As in football, they learn to coordinate as a team under the guidance of expert instructors. As soon as the target is selected, the ammunition is placed at the designated point near the mortar. The assistant gunner puts the correct number of increments to reach the target into the shell. Handling of these shells properly is just as important as firing the weapon. To enable the observer to direct the fire effectively, usually a white phosphorus shell is used to spot the target. Each 81mm shell can cover an area of approximately 100 square yards. This hollow horn is not a mortar, not a rifle. It is a handheld, recoilless rocket launcher with the punch of an artillery piece. It is also an infantry weapon, used as an on-the-spot disposer of personnel, tanks, or other enemy self-propelled artillery units. As he trains, the guardsman learns to work with other men in his squad or company as a team. To support the riflemen in an attack, the machine gun is employed against low-flying aircraft, flank protection, and counterattacks. The rifle company is one of the most important units in the entire infantry division. All the work of the rest of the division is designed to assist the rifle company do its job. Together, the spirit of cooperation which young men learn when they play sports is a vital factor in the lives of guardsmen, each helping the other to achieve a common goal. It is this helping hand attitude that develops in each guardsman a pride in his achievements. Our modern automatic weapons are progressive and exciting. Take this Quad 50, for instance. It is a power-driven 50 caliber multiple machine gun, mobile, with firepower that can give enemy aircraft or personnel a bad time. Putting classroom instructions to practical use, the artilleryman finds nothing too baffling, nothing lacking in technical explanation. He discovers that all of his scientific training pays dividends in the field and on the firing range. He learns that it's teamwork all the way in the artillery. The gun crews, with the help of forward observers, translates information into firing data that sends the shells on their way. The team, from field clerks to shell loaders, from observers to master gunners, is a great team. Students of the signal section are first taught the basic principles and subjects that are common to the general field communications. Instructions include pole climbing, cable splicing, telephone and switchboard installation, teletype mechanics, and maintenance. In the signal section, the challenge of the speed necessary to properly maintain modern communications is one that is being eagerly met by today's technically minded young man. During the 2-week summer training session, the Engineer Corps of the 40th Division is building a new road and undertakes the task of putting a bridge across a ravine. The speed and skill with which the men carried out this assignment is typical of guardsman training. No matter how inexperienced he may be, the desire to learn, plus certain natural aptitudes, qualifies the young guardsman for specialized training. Military engineering provides excellent opportunities to learn specific trades and skills. It is one of the oldest of Army services and has always kept abreast of the ceaseless advance of science and invention. A little less glamorous, but nevertheless just as important, is the ration breakdown and food distribution. Logistics of food is the science and methods of procuring and maintaining a constant stream of supplies to the men who man the guns. An important factor is quality and quantity, so that each shipment must be carefully inspected. The weight and variety of foodstuffs required to supply even a comparatively small unit would tax the entire resources of the largest supermarket. Procuring, inspecting, handling, and distributing to the many units of the division is a first-class education in itself. The National Guard Field Training Directive includes a training plan for mess units. A 4-hour school for stewards and cooks is conducted every weekday within each bivouac area. Being out in the open can sure develop the appetite, so the mess section sees to it that the men are well fed. Under the supervision of an expert food service team, the food served by the National Guard personnel is both nutritious and appetizing. Every man dines in comfort like a great outdoor picnic, chatting with old friends. course, there's always a little extra curriculum thrown in for a few favorites. Some fun, eh? Ah, yes, the goat that goes to the company commander showing the lowest recruiting effort. The Guardsman's training program is well-rounded, with time for work, for sports, and just plain relaxing. What's better than the joy and pleasure of a cool swim in this beautiful lake in nature's own playground? Sports are good for physical conditioning, for fun and relaxation, as well as morale. The Guard encourages participation. For those who may require dental or medical care, there are medical men of renowned ability as civilians. As members of the Guard, they participate in the training maneuvers to continue to develop military techniques. Religious faith, in keeping with the Guardsman's home environment, is fostered by the Guard. Every assistance is given to their religious belief through support and precept example. Compulsory attendance is not required. While here we see the significant ritual of the Mass, somewhere in the field will be heard the inspirational hymn of the Protestant faiths, or the chant of a Jewish cantor. The National Guard offers many advantages to the young man of military age. Foremost among these is the opportunity to serve his country and his state in a patriotic and honorable way without sacrificing his schooling or job, or without leaving his home or family, except, of course, in cases of emergencies as officially proclaimed. There is no better way for the young Californian to meet his military obligations than by joining with his neighbors and friends in becoming a part of his state's great citizen army, the California National Guard.